This is chapter 6, and it's called The Face of God. Now, it's very controversial, but please read it through. It's for your benefit. We are often reminded how it would be blasphemy and a sacrilege to see a God in any other way than how he's been portrayed through the centuries. Personally, I find it a blasphemy, a disservice to portray a God as a mortal man when two different species of humans were created at the same time. There would have been no procreation if these species were not made to come together to have offspring. Now, in the Genesis phase of man and woman's creation, we base much of our argument on the belief we've been given our description of God. Now, in Genesis 1, verses 27, God created a man to his own image. To the image of God he created him. Male and female he created him. Now, from the dictionary, there are 3 descriptions, with number 3 being the prevalent over the others. But let's read them through. Number 1, a representation of the form and features of a person or thing in a picture, statue, etc. That's not it. Number 2, a reflection in a mirror or. Okay, that's not it either. So number 3, it's a mental picture or picture in the mind. Now, to exploit the mental picture of number 3, we must first capitalize on the book of Exodus. Now, here's where we find the real manifestations of our God as our patriarch, Moses, reported it as he attempted to look upon God. Now, in Exodus 3, verse 6, and he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Moses hid his face, for he durst not look upon God. Now, Exodus 20, verse 18. And the people saw the voices and the flames and the sound of the trumpet and the mount smoking. And being terrified and struck with fear, they stood afar off, obviously. Now, Exodus 20, verse 19. Saying to Moses, Speak thou to us, and we will hear. Let not the Lord speak to us, lest we die. Now, was the God's strategy to put the hell's fire and brimstone into their psyche, or make them fear the power of our God? As close as Moses had become with God, even he attempted to petition God at one time to identify himself, but was rebuffed. Now Exodus 33, verse 13. If therefore I have found favor in thy sight, show me thy face, that I may know thee and may find grace before thy eyes. Well, anything bordering on seeing God has to be a metaphor, and clarified why in the following passages. It goes on to explain how Moses will need protection to avoid seeing the actual face of God. This is very strange, but it's true. Now, Exodus 33, verse 20. And again he said, Thou canst not see my face, for man shall not see me and live. Exodus 33, verse 21. And again he said, Behold, there is a place within me, and thou shalt stand upon the rock. Exodus 33:22. And when my glory shall pass, I will set thee in a hole in the rock, and protect thee with my right hand till I pass. Exodus 33, verse 23. And I will take away my hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face thou canst not see. Now, even St. John, the apostle, on chapter 4, verses 12 said, No one has ever been able to have ever seen God. If we love one another, God abides in us, and his love is protected in us. We are all guilty of using metaphors to explain away the unexplainables. There was no exception between God and his prophets. It's also why there can be no carved images or anything that represents the physical realm. Now in Exodus 20, verse 4, Thou shalt not make a graven thing to thyself, nor the likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or in the earth beneath, nor of those in the waters under the earth. A divinity of this magnitude cannot be explained nor described, and that's the premise for being a super entity and a creator of all we survey. Because we are earthly bound, everything we know must therefore reference back to a physical source. But with the doubting Thomas inquiry, Jesus explains the basis for his authority over ever so succinctly. Now in St. John 14, verse 5, Thomas said to him, Lord, we did not know where art thou going, and how can we know thy way? Jesus said to him, I am the way, and the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me. If you had known me, you would also have known my Father. And henceforth you do know him, and you have seen me. St. John 14, verse 10, Philip, he who sees me, sees also the Father. How canst thou say, show us the Father? Dost thou not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak to you, I speak not of my own authority, but the Father dwelling in me. It is he who does the works. So, it is in the epistle of St. Paul to the varying provinces of Asia and Rome where we learn to see more of Jesus' mission in the following chapters.